Hey everyone, I'm Karen Addis, and this is Jarrett. And today I just wanted to read to you a story I wrote when I was 17. Honestly, I didn't really know what to make a video about, but I wanted to make a video, and I just thought you guys might like this. Hopefully you do. And if you do like it, maybe I'll read some of my other writings to you. This is a short story, so it's about 2.5 pages. No backs. It's very considerate of paper back then. Anyway, let's get started. It's called DNA Trackers. Gwen picks up a box of gloves and shoves them towards the others. Here, put these on, she says. Louis hands the gloves to Sonny without taking a pair for himself. Don't you think this is a little overkill? He gestures to the hairnet on his head and his rubber outfit. No part of his skin is showing. Absolutely not. You know what happened to the others, Gwen replied. The usually bright Sonny hangs her head in despair. Reliving the painful memories of yesterday. Louis puts his arm around his little sister protectively and says, Aw, come on, Gwen. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna make Sonny cry. Gwen snaps back. But it did happen, and it could happen again. I'm sorry, but having Sonny cry is better than what could happen to her. Louis makes a face, which makes Sonny laugh, but still puts the gloves on. Gwen did make sense, he thought to himself, which is why she's the leader. Gwen ignores Louis' little mock and says, Come on, we have to get there before the scientists do. Sonny follows her hand in Louis'. In the old days, didn't scientists used to be the good guys who helped the environment? She says, struggling over the big word. I don't know about that, Louis answers, doubting scientists were ever good. But now they're on the bad side, for sure. Huh, Sonny says, always wanting to see the best in people. You know what, Louis says, I think you're too good. We can always use more people like that, Gwen says, interrupting their conversation. We're here. Remember, do not play with your hair, clothes, or gloves. Leave them on at all times. We cannot let them get our DNA. Touch only the things you have to. Only go for our needs. If you grab too much, they might start to suspect something. Be careful. Louis, who had heard this speech so many times before, was already rummaging through food packages, which were packets of deflated food that just needed to be stepped on to crush the atoms in order to re-inflate it. Some computer contacts, which were more of a want than a need. Oh well, he thought, Gwen will never find out. And a couple of washcloths, many clothes that grew with water, for him and Sonny. He also grabbed a wash bear for Sonny. He thought any 7-year-old kid needs at least one toy, especially one like her. She spent most of her time worrying about things most adults don't even have to think about. Besides, What a break! Besides, she deserved at least a fraction of the happiness that she had given to him and Gwen back. Too bad he didn't hear the rest of Gwen's lecture, explaining how the scientists had updated their security methods. They were now running, giddy with the success of their latest raid. They were certain no drop of their DNA had gotten on the scientists' precious merchandise. That is, the merchandise they hadn't stolen. They were headed towards their most recent home, the Rudder. It was an old warehouse filled with old rudders, hence the name. Meanwhile, the scientists were overwhelmed with joy. They would finally capture, no, that wasn't the right word, imprison. Still not cruel enough for the evil scientists' liking. Destroy. Now that was the word. They would destroy the pesky parasites that had squeezed past their state-of-the-art security system one too many times. It was, of course, just pure luck on their part, for no one could truly outsmart a scientist. Though the bad thing about luck is that it eventually ran out, as theirs just had. Gwen! Louis cries suddenly. Gwen! He says this time not so forcefully, for he accidentally startled his sister, who was holding his hand. My eyes, he whispered, for talking was suddenly taking a lot of energy. My eyes. Gwen bends down next to Louis, who was now on the dirt floor of the ditch, to examine his left eye. No! She screams with such agony that Louis and Sonny both jump. Louis, no! She was actually crying. Gwen never cried. Sonny also started weeping. She was a strong girl, but if Gwen was crying, Sonny knew they were in trouble. Louis, did you hear me? Those computer contacts have DNA trackers in them. Then she mutters in utter defeat. They're coming. Why is Louie hurting? Sunny asked, worrying about her big brother. And why can't we just take out the contacts? Because they injected the tracker into his eyes, she says, full of despair. We can't run. They'll find us anyway. Can't we break it? Sunny suggests desperately to help her brother. No, Gwen says immediately. Then she pauses. Sunny, you're a genius! She bends down and starts jabbing her finger into Louie's eye, making him cry out in pain. Sunny watches, mortified. What are you doing? She shrieks. You're hurting him! Sunny, I'll explain later. Get me a stick, she asks simply, as if this was normal behavior. Sunny just sits there, frozen to her spot. Sunny, now! Gwen's voice was so commanding, Sunny doesn't even have a choice but to obey. She gets a stick and hands it to Gwen. Gwen then jabs it into Louie's eye. By now, Louie doesn't even have the energy to protest, or cry for that matter. He just lets Gwen poke around in his eye, feeling helpless as Sunny cries. Finally, they hear 2 sharp snaps. I broke them, Gwen announces calmly. What? His eyes? Sunny asks in horror. Those 2. Come on, help me with Louie. Together they drag, half-carry him through an underground tunnel they had prepared in case of emergencies. Now, we wait, Gwen says, leaning against the crude dirt wall, settling in for a long wait. But there was no need, for the scientists were almost there. What's gonna happen? Okay. They start digging around dusk. The scientists were long gone, but not their traps. The safest way was to stay underground. They dig the rest of the night and into the late morning. Epilogue. Years later, what happened? Okay. Are you excited? I'm excited. Gwen had succeeded in crushing the DNA trackers in his... Wanna break, take 2. Gwen had succeeded in crushing the trackers in the computer contacts, but to do so, Louie was now blind. Though this may seem like bad fortune, it was actually what saved them in the end. Every disabled citizen was granted a place to stay, which in this case was something like a cabin, but made out of plastic logs, so it would never grow mold or deteriorate, for himself and his sister. They were also provided with all the necessities they needed to survive. Gwen, without the responsibility of keeping her younger partners alive, now had a job and was becoming a successful young adult. She was actually studying to become a scientist, the good olden day kind. As for the evil scientists, since the contacts were broken, they never had any record of the children's previous thievery. To them, their pesky parasites had simply ceased to exist. That is DNA trackers. I wrote this when I was 17, like I told you at the top, and I don't know. I like it. It's really cool. It's based in a future world, as you could probably tell. I like it a lot. I hope you like it. Tell me your thoughts on it, and if you want me to read maybe like more of my things, I might. I hope you guys are all doing amazing. I hope you're having a great day, and keep living well. It's really good to know you. Goodbye from Jay and Kay. Good to know you guys. Bye.